Good morning. Thanks for joining. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Socolor and Socolor Sync. They've just been reformulated to being pre-bonded, which is amazing. Here's their new packaging. I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. They're all the packages are a little bit different. It's almost like a rainbow themed, kind of like this. It's so pretty. Here's the Socolor, and here's the Socolor Sync package. They are really, really easy to read. The tabs here, let me get closer. As you can see, it says Socolor, and this one here is the Socolor Sync. And they are still two different sizes, so it's easy to determine if you're just going to grab which is which. Now let's talk about the best part of them. They are now pre-bonded. Who's excited for that? Drop a heart in the chat below if you are, because I love it. All right, who can tell me about the pre-bonded? Great, I love all that. So pre-bonded, some of the benefits of it. It protects the inner hair structure. The next key point, can anyone drop in the comments below what the next key point of them are? Great, I love that. Pre-blended. They are all Socolor and Socolor Sync are pre-blended. What does that mean for this particular line that they're pre-blended? What does it mean? It means that it is pre-blended with background and reflect. So one of the benefits with being pre-blended with the background and reflect, excuse me, is it helps neutralize even the most complex underlying tones. It is very true to tone, and it is, the pre-blended is in the Socolor Sync, the permanent and the demi side, which is amazing because when you do go to, say, do an end refresh, it blends them perfectly. They're seamless. You can't really ever tell a difference from the new growth that you just colored to the ends that you refreshed with Socolor Sync. So that is another part that I absolutely love, is it's seamless from root to tip. Always you end up with a beautiful, beautiful blend. If you guys are still with me, drop a comment below in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're loving some of this information too. We're going to also be doing a demo for you today. Right here I have my girl. She is sectioned in your 4 sections. This side I already have finished for you so you can see the results later. We are going to be doing a retouch with an end refresh on her. Her root color, we use the 8NA. And the ends we're going to follow up with 9NA. So let's go ahead and get that started. Who can tell me in the comments below what the mixing ratio for the Socolor is. Great, I love that. So Socolor is always equal parts. Again, we're using the 8NA for her roots. I'm only going to mix up a little bit of color because she's not super dense, so probably about a ½ ounce. Can anyone tell me in the comments below how many applications are in our Socolor tube? The regular Socolor tube. So I put a ½ ounce of color in here. Next, you always want to make sure you measure because it gives you the best results. Here I'm going to use a measuring cup. At the salon, I love to use a scale because I feel like you can customize formulas a little bit more. Catch your ½ ounce of developer. All right, let's check these comments here. Yeah, you're right. There is 2 applications in the Socolor tubes. So we're going to go ahead and get this a little mixed. We're going to mix it until the developer and the color is fully mixed in with each other. Perfect. Next, we're going to put our gloves on. How many of you in the salon still like to clip off your sections? I always recommend sectioning because you're going to get the best coverage that way. Yeah, can everyone see okay here? Perfect, thanks. So having your sections, your sectioned off, you're going to get the best application that way. Here we're going to be doing just a retouch, so about a ½ inch out you're going to work your way through. And then I typically just use the tip of my color comb to section the next part over. I do dab when I'm going that way too to make sure everything's nice and covered. And you want to make sure these sections are nice and small. You should be able to see through them. If you can't see through them, your section is too big. Now, the size that you take is going to be different because everyone has different density of hair. If they have finer hair, you can take a little bit bigger of a section. But if they have thick, coarse hair, it's got to be like super, super thin to make sure that all that hair gets saturated. Because you don't want to have a client that, you know, you wash her out and you realized that saturation wasn't in there enough to cover all those grays or all those stubborn little hairs that sprout out at you. So I'm going to just go through here, work my way all the way down. In the comments below, who can tell me how long our Socolor timing is? See a few coming in there. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. Anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. Now your timing is going to just depend based on what key factors might it depend on. Can anyone put that in the comments below? She's moving on me here. Great, let's check these comments out. Yeah, it depends on the density of hair, the texture of hair, whether it's fine, coarse, or medium. So as you see here, worked my way all the way down. And now I would start this, if this was a gray coverage guest, I would always start in the front, personally, on their head, because their hair is usually most resistant around the face. So after I go through on a gray haired client retouch and do this, I usually go back through and dab it again and make sure that saturation is really, really in there. Get those grays covered because they tend to be a little more coarse a lot of times, even on your regular fine-haired guest. All right, once you get all of that applied, I typically will time this out because we will be refreshing our ends today with our Socolor Sync. If this is a gray-haired guest, I will leave them sit for the full 45 minutes, but in about 20 minutes, I would go through and I'll refresh our ends. Now for camera sake today and for this little video, I'm going to go ahead and get her end formula mixed up right now and get that applied so you can see how seamless these colors work together. We're going to use our Socolor Sync, and with the refresh, we did her roots with 8NA. We're going to do her ends with 9NA. You sometimes want to bump that level up a little bit just to give that nice seamless blend. And if that person's hair, say, is a little more porous, those ends could grab a little bit too dark if you used an 8 on the same thing. But if you need to deepen it a little bit, absolutely. Mix it with some 8 a little bit. Make that 9 a little darker and deeper. Socolor Sync in the comments below who can tell me what developers they can be mixed with. In our developers, we have 10, 20, 30, and 40. So down there below, who can tell me what ones they can be mixed with? Great, yes, I love that. So they can be mixed anywhere between a 10 and a 20 developer. In what case might you use a 20 developer? Yeah, so you could use 20 when you're trying to cover grays or someone that has a more coarse, resistant texture of hair. Sometimes you need that little extra oomph to open the hair cuticle up. All right, again, we have our color here with developer. Equal parts, always equal parts mixing. I'm gonna get that mixed until it's nice and mixed in. You don't want to see any separation between the two. And I absolutely just love the Color Sync consistency because it's not like super runny or anything, and it's easier to work with for sure. So we're gonna go ahead. And now when I'm refreshing a guest ends, I will actually start from the bottom up. And the reason for that is when you go to set their hair down, you're not putting wet colored hair over here that may fall and touch their eye. We want to keep those chemicals off their skin as much as possible. So I just paint it on and work it all the way up to your Socolor formula. They will be so seamless, you won't even be able to tell a difference. Same kind of sections. You want to be able to definitely see through them so the spreadability is there. If you take too big of sections, your saturation may not be even coverage. And you won't get that seamless color. How many of you were refreshing ends on your clients with Socolor Sync prior to this? Drop down below in the comments some of your experiences. Is there any kind of things that you didn't know before this? Would you have done the same exact formula as the regrowth on the ends? Every case is different, really. Me personally, I always like to adjust the formula a little bit. And plus, it's more reflective then. Like, you get more of a natural sun-kissed look, especially on your blondes here. They're multi-dimensional, turn out amazing. And this formula we're using today is one of Matrix new tones, the NAs, which I absolutely love. How many of you fight that brass and yellowy orangey? And they're blondes. This 9 NA makes for an amazing toner too. So again, if this was a great coverage client, I would have let her sit for about 20 minutes, her regrowth, and then I would go back over and refresh her ends for the last 20 minutes. Now, do you always need to leave those ends on 20 minutes? Who can tell me in the comments below? Exactly. You don't always have to leave them on 20 minutes. Sometimes you just need a tiny refresh. So like a 10-minute refresh is perfect. But again, then I would wait until this color would have sat for about 30 minutes, because it's going to take you about how long to apply this end refresh? Right, about 5 minutes. So then once you get that on, you only have, it'll take you 5 minutes to apply. Then it sits for 10 minutes, and then she's good to go. Oh, I took this section a little big. Let me separate that out. Again, work that color into the Socolor formula too. It ends up being such a beautiful, seamless result. Who could tell me what they might recommend this guest a take-home for take-home products? You know, you spent all this beautiful time, creating this beautiful look, and then they're going to go home, and they're going to feel like the color didn't last if you don't recommend the right color care shampoos, conditioners. It just makes sense. Alright, once I get it all applied here, typically I'll go back through and just kind of make sure all those ends are nice and saturated. And let that process anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes as you need. Now, if you get a little bit on their face, make sure you wipe that off right after you get it applied. Otherwise, we don't want to leave them with some stains. A nice, clean application is always best. And there you go. That's our application. So now I want to show you what the finished result was over here. Over here, we got that gorgeous, seamless color. We did those two same formulas. I did her earlier so you guys could see for camera's sake. Did the 8 NA on her roots, 9 NA on her ends. That's just beautiful. It almost looks like she has natural highlights. And it's so soft. That's the one thing I do love about the Matrix products too. I have so many guests that tell me after I color their hair, it feels softer and better shape after it's colored, which you wouldn't think makes sense because you're putting chemicals on the hair, but they're formulated to help protect the inner structure of the hair. And now that they have the pre-bonder in it, my goodness, it's a game changer. My blondes are softer. My end refreshes are shinier. They were shiny before because the Color Stink's always been so shiny. But now it's just, I'm getting so much good feedback. The other thing that I've had guests say too is that they actually used to get a little tingly feeling when I did the scalp retouch. They don't get that anymore. And the color's lasting longer for them, which is amazing. So real quick, let's talk about take-home products. Shampoos, conditioners, color care. Shampoos, conditioners, they're very important. This one in particular is our So Long Damage. It's going to help create the hair to stay stronger uh, and help it grow, especially for those clients that are like, need that little bit of strengthening to help it grow longer and thicker. Recommend the right products. It will give you the best results. Well, I thank you guys for watching, and feel free to message me with any kind of comments or questions. I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks. Have a good day.